All right. I hope this is working. Hey, gang. It's Ben. This is my first ever Instagram Live. So, two things. First of all, bear with me. It's my first one, so, might be kind of rough. Hopefully the tech will work. Tech being me, this idiot trying to figure it out. Second is so excited that my first Instagram Live is with Beto O'Rourke. He is, as you all know, a superstar in the Democratic Party. He was narrowly defeated in 2018. He ran against Ted Cruz, one of the most noxious Republican senators out there. Lost by 2.5 points, but since then he's been an incredible grassroots organizer. He has started an organization powered by people, which has made millions of phone calls, registered tens of thousands, if not over 100,000 Texans. And anyway, he's doing great work. You guys know who he is. I'm going to try to add him right now. Let's see. Let's search for Beto.
All right, I'm waiting for him. See if we get him.
Yo,
Hey, you made it.
I made it. I just texted Ben. I was on my way back to the house, but I was at a railroad crossing and the train was going on forever. And I had 15 minutes, then I had 10 minutes, and it was getting down to 5 minutes. And so I texted Ben in a panic saying, I don't know how long this train is, but I got here.
You are here. That, first of all, that's the most Texas thing you could say, stuck at a railroad crossing, right?
Yeah. Oh.
And then the second thing is that's out of a movie, man. You're like, this is the scene in a movie where the politician has to get to the engagement and he just barely makes it. Anyway, that's brilliant.
But we made it.
It's
It's so good to see you. And I got to say, for all of the folks who are, subscribed to my Instagram and who are subscribed to yours, they may not know that not only are you a Texan, but you have been helping so much in this election in Texas. You and your wife, I believe, have raised now over $250,000 for Texas State House candidates in the most competitive Texas State House election probably in our adult lives. And so I want to say thank you on behalf of the people of Texas for sticking to your roots and getting into this fight here in Texas.
God bless you, Beto. Thank you. Yeah, it's been thousands and thousands of folks have donated, $5-10. It's just been incredible to see the sort of the grassroots organizing and, just follow in your footsteps. But thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And then let me ask you one quick question. Did you
Sure.
see, I saw it on Evan Smith's Twitter feed. He's the publisher and editor of the Texas Tribune. Biden 48, Trump 48 in the state of Texas today.
Wow.
Right?
That is just, look, so, we both grew up there. So for the non-Texans out there, to have a tied presidential race in the state of Texas, I would sooner have believed aliens would land in Texas growing up than we would have a tied presidential race. That is incredible. So tell me, Beto, like, what's it feeling like down there? You're down there. I'm sadly, I'm not able to go, but what's it feeling like? What's it looking like? What's the grassroots vibe?
It's really amazing. And so for those of you who got engaged in the 2018 Senate race or other races that were happening in Texas at the time, at the end of the day, we all helped produce the largest voter turnout in a midterm since 1970, since before either you or I were born. And that kind of grassroots energy, that willingness to believe or allowing yourself to believe that it's possible after for so long being in the desert, it's a really powerful feeling. And what's beautiful about it is that feeling is being transmitted even though we cannot physically be together. And we're having to do this by phone and by text and through Instagram Live. But there's so much enthusiasm out there, and the energy is so positive. And I think this latest poll reflects that. And by the way, folks, and you all know this, but it does not mean that Joe Biden is going to win Texas. It means Joe Biden could win Texas if we all do all that we can while we still have time, and a little more than 3 weeks left to us, if you want to get on the ground for Joe Biden, the best way to do it is to join his campaign, joebiden.com, or join a Powered by People phone bank, or donate to the campaign, or get behind one of these great Democratic state house candidates in Texas who are really the source of all the energy that's flowing up ballot right now. But Ben, it feels good. And it's been, believe it or not, 44 years. It was 1976 was the last time that Texas sent her electoral college votes to the Democratic nominee. So 44-year drought, half a century, and we're up against it. I really feel good about Joe Biden's chances of being the first since then.
That's amazing. That's incredible. I just want to amplify what you just said. For folks who are looking to get involved, you can text WIN, W-I-N, to 30330. That's the word WIN to 30330. That'll get you in touch with the Biden campaign. You can also check your registration and make a plan to vote at iwillvote.com. And you have a big phone bank coming up, right? You have a big phone bank on next Monday?
Absolutely. We're calling it, it's kind of a riff on my favorite album of all time, The Clash's London Calling album. We're calling it Calling Texas, and the Million Voter Phone Bank. So we're going to attempt to call over the course of 12 hours on Monday, more than 1 million Texas voters. These could be the voters we talk with who will decide the outcome of close state house races. If we win a majority in the Texas House, it'll be the first time Democrats have had that majority in 20 years. And all this voter suppression that we see when the governor closes down the absentee ballot drop-off locations, or the voter ID laws, or the racial gerrymander, or the polling place closures all over the state of Texas, more than 750 closed in the last 8 years. When you have a Democratic majority, they start bringing people back into our democracy and making sure that will is reflected in expanding access to health care, reducing gun violence, confronting climate before it's too late. And literally, it's going to be decided in about a dozen races here in Texas. And again, you and your wife were so critical in raising the money, everyone who raised or who donated because you all asked. This is the year, this is the moment. This phone bank on Monday, the Million Voter Phone Bank, Calling Texas, allows us to reach those voters and just say, hey, don't wait till Election Day, the 3rd of November. Get out of those long lines and vote early on the 13th of October, which will be the following day. And the fact that Ben McKenzie is going to be making phone calls. I mean, you the Texas voter, might get a call from Ben McKenzie. Willie Nelson is joining us, Oprah Winfrey, Stacey Abrams. We've got this all-star lineup. Julian Castro, I'm so excited. Andrew Yang. I mean, just really great people, both inside and outside of Texas, who get how important this state is. And so y'all don't want to miss it. And you can go to, on Google, you can look for Powered by People, and you can find a way to sign up there.
Great, fantastic. And I'll definitely amplify as well. And I can't wait. I'm in. I'm going to sign up for a shift. I'm going to send everyone out there. That's fantastic. Man, I wish I could get a call. I want to get a call from Willie Nelson telling me to vote. That sounds, for the lucky folks out there, that sounds just great. So you mentioned it before, and you wrote a great op-ed in the Washington Post. People should check it out. But one of the things that the winning in Texas will do is obviously Trump can't mess with it, right? If you win and Texas counts its votes quickly, it'll be decided on election night, most likely. It's over. Game's over for him. But even more than that, winning in Texas would create a sea change in our politics, right? It would change for a decade or more, really, I would argue forever, how the Republican Party has to behave. They've been running on this racist, xenophobic, divisive politics. And if we win, and win at the top of the ticket, but also win the House, the Texas State House, they can't gerrymander anymore, right? They can't do what they've done, which is create these bizarre districts, that look like the salamanders that the gerrymander comes from, that are completely misrepresent the power that the average Texan should have to determine who actually represents them, right? Is that what you see as the key here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think two big points. One, if you're concerned, as I'm concerned, that Donald Trump will attempt to steal the election, that he'll try to illegitimately and illegally declare himself the victor while the votes are still being counted in Pennsylvania, which may take days or weeks to count the votes. Know that Texas will likely report our totals on the night of the election. And this national nightmare could be over on the 3rd of November. And mathematically and psychologically, if Joe Biden wins those 38 electoral college votes, there is no path whatsoever for Donald Trump. I mean, that ends it, turns the page on Trump and Trumpism, and we begin the next chapter in this country. The second thing, and you're so smart to point this out, look, 2021 is the year where Texas redraws the political boundaries, the congressional districts, the state house districts. And in 2017, a 3-judge federal panel called Texas's districts a racial gerrymander. In other words, Republicans in power drew out Black Texans, Mexican-American Texans, Texans in communities of color to diminish the power and impact of their vote and the likelihood that they would vote at all, while concentrating the power of white voters. Very cynical, very racist, and very unconstitutional. They will seek to do something like that in 2021 if they retain the majority. So, you all helping us in Texas, Biden making a big play, and we just saw an announcement yesterday, $6 million, which is probably $6 million more than any Democratic nominees ever spent in Texas. That's what Biden is spending on TV in Texas. That is so huge. These great state house candidates running these races, the volunteers making phone calls. If we all do our job, we win that Democratic majority. We have a seat at the table for redistricting in 2021. We begin to draw people back in to their own democracy. And we go from a state that until 2018 was 50th in voter turnout in the country, not because we have any lack of love for democracy, but literally we were drawn and voter ID'd and racially gerrymandered that way. We again become a performing state. And what I've always told folks is we're not a red state, we're not a blue state, we are a non-voting state right now. And winning these elections allows our democracy the chance to start working again and become a voting state. And then watch out, because the possibilities really are endless, and it would be Texas leading the way, which would be so great.
Oh my God. And I've heard a lot people say, if you want to look at the future of the country for the 21st century, go to Texas. Texas is where it's at. The old sort of, stereotype of Texas is this deeply conservative, very white, old. It's fallen completely by the wayside. I mean, there's so many folks pouring into the state, great quality of life. I feel like I'm going to do an ad for the Texas Tourism Board, but I might as well. It's incredible. The food's amazing. If you like Mexican food, if you like barbecue, and so many folks are moving in, and there's such a huge, obviously, Latino population that, to your point, they just have been stopped, that along with the Black population, stopped from voting at every turn, made it difficult at every single turn. Having a foothold in the legislature so we can get reasonable laws that just bring us up to parity with some of these other states, it would be so massive. It's tremendously exciting to even contemplate. I'm hoping that it pans out. All right, I got to ask you one other question about tonight. Right, we've got the debate.
Yeah.
In a little while. You debated Kamala. Should Mr. Pence buckle up? What's he in for?
Yeah, you don't want to go in assuming anything. And Mike Pence, served in Congress, was elected governor of a state, won the nomination for vice president. So he's formidable in his own right. Kamala, though, is so damn smart. She's so engaging and charismatic. She's so comfortable in who she is and what she's doing and the mission that she's on now, which is to make sure that she and Joe Biden win this election and get this country on the right track. I can't see an outcome where she just does not make us proud tonight. And she's one of these people who, in addition to being a formidable debater and candidate and just a powerhouse, is genuinely kind. And I think, Ben, I don't know, tell me how you feel about this, but I think at a moment where you mentioned this nativist, racist, xenophobic president who is so focused on himself at the expense of literally the rest of the country and certainly the the hundreds of thousands of families who've lost someone to COVID, or the millions who have lost a job. Her kindness, her compassion, which I've been the personal recipient of. I mean, even though we were competitors, she was always kind to me. I think she also exudes that for those that she wants to serve and represent. And I think that with Biden, who's got just an extraordinary capacity for empathy and compassion, and who has lost a lot in his life and has suffered and struggled, and so he connects with your suffering and struggle and loss. I think this deeply divided, badly wounded country that is so polarized needs that right now. And I really hope that comes through from Kamala tonight, on top of her sharp wit and intelligence and the beautiful things she's going to say. What are you looking for from the debate?
Yeah, what you said is just it's music to my ears. When people ask me why I'm supporting Biden and Harris, the answer that comes quickest is a return to decency, a return to caring about each other. It feels like these last 4 years, no matter where you sit on the political spectrum, it's just been divisive, so divisive. Pitting each other against ourselves, and that's not who we are as Americans. That's not what we represent. That's never been the idea of this shining city on a hill that could be an emblem for so many out there, not just in this country but around the world, and to see our standing fall around the world as everyone else kind of looks at us side-eyed, like, what's going on over there. It's a chance to return to the values that I hold dear, that I grew up with in Texas. And the best example of that to me, one of the best examples is immigration. Kamala obviously has an immigrant past. I believe she's second generation, or is she first generation? I can't remember.
That's right. I think her parents were both immigrants to this country. That's powerful.
Yeah, and my wife is an immigrant. Our children have a dual citizenship. They're American and Brazilian. The notion that we would turn our back, this country of immigrants, founded by immigrants, would turn our backs on immigrants, and not only that, but treat them with just the worst possible way. There's so much going on in 2020. I think it's hard to keep track of all the terrible things that Trump's done, but the separating families at the border, it just breaks my heart. I was reading an article in the Post yesterday about the Trumpites conspiring to separate infants from their mothers while they were still breastfeeding. And any parent, any person with a soul has to feel that is wrong, and it has to change. And so I look for Kamala just to have the values that I think we can all, aspire to have, hopefully have, what we want to pass along to our children. I think Democrats sometimes recoil from a talk about values, but I think that's totally backwards. We are the party of family values. We are the party of understanding that we're all related to each other, and that we all have a deep connection and need each other. And there's a role for government to play in a free enterprise system. And we the more we lift each other up, the better off we are individually. So I'm excited about that, and I hope she'll speak to that. I'm sure she will.
I bet you she will. And I think that news, I saw some of those same stories about then Attorney General Jeff Sessions and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein so callously saying, I don't care how young they are, take them from their moms and dads. I mean, you're a parent. It makes me emotional. Like I get very emotional even just saying that out loud, because I just can't imagine. My youngest is now 9, but if he were taken from us and we were strangers in a strange land, and he didn't speak the language, and of course he wouldn't know the laws, and he was kept imprisoned, initially in a cage, didn't know where Amy and I were, didn't know when or if he'd ever see us again. I mean, how we can only imagine how badly that would damage him in the moment, and then for life, like what that would do to him over the course of his life. And then by extension, to your point, what the hell does that do to us and this country, and who we are, who we think we are, who we tell our kids that we are, what the rest of the world thinks of us? You said it so well. We're a country of immigrants and asylum seekers and refugees who have tortured immigrants, asylum seekers, and refugees, because that's what that is. That's torture. And In addition, we've lost the lives of 6 kids over the last 2 years who were in our custody and care, in Customs and Border Protection custody and care. How does that happen? And I think when you have a president who describes those fleeing the deadliest countries on the face of the planet, willing to make a 2,000-mile journey, much of it by foot, in order to save the lives of their kids, when he calls them an infestation, which is what you'd call a cockroach or an invasion, or describes them as animals, then it almost gives permission to treat people, human beings, as something less than human, which is unfortunately what's happened in this country. And I got to remind myself, as much as that was Trump's decision carried out by his enablers, for as long as this condition exists, it's on all of us, because we're a democracy, and we don't get to take a pass. We can't sit on the sidelines. This is all of us. And so it just, for me, draws the contrast and raises the level of urgency on this election. Like, we cannot fuck this up. We cannot lose, because the alternative is more of that. And the last 4 years were only preview and prologue to the cruelty that we could expect in the next 4 years. So, no pressure, everybody, but we got to win this stuff.
No, but you said it so well. I think that's so right. The stakes couldn't be higher. I hope that everyone who's watching, can remember that if they want to get involved, they should text 30330, the word win, to 30330. They should find out Powered by the People. I'm going to amplify your message. I'm going to join you on the phone bank on Monday.
Yes.
We're going to win this thing. We are going to win Texas. It is going to happen. This nightmare will be over, and we will be able to raise our children in a country we can be proud of. And to me, with all the things we're dealing with in 2020, if 2020 accomplishes that, it's okay. We'll be all right as a nation. And anyway, I just want to say thank you for taking the time. Please, any last words? Please share them with folks. But thank you, and I'll let you go.
No, thank you. And listen, we still claim you here in Texas. We are so proud of what you and your family are doing right now. And, the fact that you and others who are outside of Texas are directing your focus and resources and attention and putting in the work to help this state come through. I just want Texas to then return the favor by coming through for the country on November 3rd and really ending the nightmare of Trump and beginning what could be the most ambitious progressive administration in the history of this country, one that we could truly be proud of. And I love the way you just put it. The history books are certainly going to have to tell the stories that we were just talking about, the kids in cages, the family separation, the horror on the border with Mexico that is a result of the Trump administration. But we'd love for that chapter in the history book to end with how we responded and how this country came through and how we did it together. And so I'm very lucky to be on the same team with you. I'm so grateful you invited me to join you on what I understand is your first Instagram Live. So this is this is a big honor in the O'Rourke household that I'm going to tell my kids about and my grandkids down the road.
Yeah, right.
But you all are doing great. Keep it up. And I'm so looking forward to seeing you on the phone bank on Monday. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Let's do it, man. I'm so excited. I'm just frustrated that it's not in person because of COVID. I can't, sit next to Willie and,
right.
Just kind of like hang out with him, maybe sneak out for smoke break, kind of something like that. Anyway, I'm so excited. And, let's keep talking. Let me know if you need anything else. I'm going to keep amplifying Powered by People. Let's go win this thing.
Let's do it. Ándale pues. Adiós.
Adiós.